We are ready to dine with our food and wine columnist, Shiva Reddy, and today we're talking about this year's bumper crop. And Shiva's here with a look at how local food producers are making the most of it. Hello, Shiva.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, so great to see you.
I know, right?
And I love salmon, so this is right up my alley. What can you tell us about the impact of this year's salmon return for our local market?
There is just so much all of a sudden, and people are celebrating. And it's one of those things where our season is not just going to end in a couple of weeks. It's most likely going to go towards the end of fall as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like growing up here on the West Coast, I feel like salmon was always so abundant. I almost took it for granted.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then just over time, you realize that, oh, this is actually becoming a luxury, and I might not be able to afford it as much as I did before in my childhood, or my parents rather.
Everything was affordable to us back then.
But now it's coming back, and as a result, we're able to really revel in that.
There are several varieties, though, of salmon that we get to see here on the West Coast. Which ones do you think we should be really looking out for?
Yes. So, we see the steelhead, we get to see the classic Chinook and kokanee salmon, but I got to have a conversation with Janice Yu. She is the owner of Fresh Ideas Start Here, which abbreviation is FISH. Now, she was telling me the main ones that she's seeing, which is pink versus sockeye salmon. Have a listen.
Most people are familiar with sockeye, which has a very strong salmon taste, very red in color. People love putting through the barbecue. Wild pinks are a lot more delicate in meat texture than, I say, sockeye. Sometimes sockeye, the minute you overcook it, it gets a little bit dry, where pink salmon has the delicate texture where if you put a really nice, delicious marinade on it, it will absorb like a sponge, and you can put that on the barbecue. I know a lot of people put wild pink salmon on a smoker, which is a great fish to smoke as well.
Now, I find with myself, I get a little nervous and I accidentally overcook. So
I do that
pink
all
is
the
the
time.
way to go, I guess.
All right, good to know. What are some more, I guess maybe, I feel like I'm in a rut sometimes with how I cook the fish. So what are some creative ways to work with salmon?
Yeah, so I had the chance to speak with Chef Roger Ma from Boulevard Kitchen and Oyster Bar, and I recall my time back then when I was working with him about a decade ago. He had spent a lot of his early career in New York, and I remember seeing him work with salmon in the way you would a pastrami. He was inspired by the Russian delis in New York.
Okay.
So he would kind of use the same brine, spice rub, etc., combine it with some rye crackers as well. I hear now he's got a little cucumber gazpacho, but now he's telling me about how he's working with the classic style of clay. So he's essentially taking thick cuts of filet. He's tightly wrapping that with a fig leaf. The fig leaf itself has been rinsed, frozen so it becomes more pliable, and then he coats that with clay.
We bake it at a very high temperature to set the clay. That takes about maybe 7 minutes or so. And then we let the residual heat finish the cooking so we can rest for about 20 minutes or so before we serve. The result is just perfectly cooked. It's very, very even wall to wall, and it's medium rare throughout the whole piece of fish, and it just kind of just melts.
Now, he was so kind to chat with me while he was running around doing some errands for the restaurant as well. Now, for me, I know I like to spice it up a little bit as much as I can, but also the classics are so good as well. I love working with maple, honey, getting that caramelization, lemon, having a sheet pan where you can just kind of put everything on it and let it cook together because it's too hot these days.
Yeah, yes, it is. And as you're talking, I'm going through my mind thinking, do I have any salmon in the freezer that I could pull out? I think I do. But for those that are curious about working with salmon at home, what are some tips and tricks? Because I'm pretty sure you've picked up a few over the years.
I sure have. Now, the biggest thing that Chef Roger was telling me about was dry your salmon. So when you purchase it, ensure that you are drying it as much as possible. If it's gutted on the inside and completely descaled rather, you essentially put a napkin on top, on the inside, you put it in the fridge overnight, allow it to reduce in moisture completely, and that will help you. Also cook it in incredibly high heat as well. And don't be scared about the bones. when you are at the local fishmonger, ask to keep the bones and the insides. And essentially what you want to do is you want to clean that as much as possible. You could boil that just to kind of get rid of that fishiness that exists as well. And with that, you can then make an incredible stock. You can make soups as well. And also, a sharp knife is always incredibly helpful if you're going to try to fillet it at home as well.
I have not yet tried that. I'll leave it to the expert.
Yeah, I know. I truly do butcher it, so I should leave it up to them.
What does this year's return, though? It's wonderful, but what does it mean for the price of salmon?
Yes. So in this case, with the abundance, all of a sudden, the price is actually much nicer. And what was now, I would say, like last year, feeling like a luxury,
Totally.
is much better. Have a listen to Janice telling us a little bit about that.
No, it is still quite a surge for us as retailer to have this amount of salmon available for consumers. And it's a very good year to have such a run, because when you have so much fish coming in, it brings the price point down. And in this economic downturn, overall, it's really helpful for the salmon to come back and keep the price low so everyone can enjoy and buy salmon.
And with that as well, Janice gave some very good advice that I must mention. We love our sashimi here on the West Coast so much. However, with the freshly caught salmon, it's very important that you actually cook it as well, because it is not flash frozen.
Right.
So just for your own safety, please do not have it as sashimi.
All right, but I will have it any other way. Thank you so much, Shiva.
Thank you.
Shiva Reddy is our guide in the world of food and wine. She joins us every other Monday, right around this time. Shiva is a sommelier and host of Not Your Butter Chicken, now streaming on CBC Gem, and you can follow her adventures on Instagram at itsready91.